Here we have got some elephants just next to the buffalo sighting, and these are two bull elephants who are feeding on a termite mound. And I've been toying with whether or not to share some fairly sad news with you today, and I've decided that I should, because I think it's an important part of the wilderness, the incident that occurred this morning. Many of you will remember that there was a guide at Chitwa called Sheldon, and Sheldon was unfortunately killed by an elephant today, not at Chitwa. He was on another reserve away from here. And it's very, very sad news. And he was an experienced guide. He knew what he was doing. He was also uber sensitive. He was a very sensitive guide. And the circumstances around which it happened are unclear. But it's just such a strong and powerful reminder to us about how we must never be complacent out here. And although it is obviously a very dreadfully sad incident, there's nothing really positive to be said about it, except that it's a reminder to the rest of us to appreciate the animals as wild. And we often are, perhaps because we speak about them in a way that makes us consider them to be less than wild, sometimes we forget. But it's always very important to understand that we are in a very wild area where animals will react in certain ways to human beings that we need to be constantly aware of. And it's also a reminder of how nature is cruel and kind, very unfortunate incident, but it happens all the time around nature, not just with human beings, but, animals die in nature all the time, and animals are born all the time in nature, and nature doesn't seem to really care. It is neither cruel nor kind. It is just as it is. Anyway, we wish Sheldon all the best on his next journey to wherever that is. And I think that he deserves an enormous amount of appreciation for the sensitivity and knowledge that he brought to guiding. Anyway, very sad.
There's a man that I worked with once before, and his name is Sheldon. You hear me say Sheldon often, but have you ever seen him? So let's have a look at Sheldon. Sheldon has been growing that beard since he was 6 years old, and he sprouted his first facial hair. There he is, everybody. Sheldon, you're on candid camera. There we go. So that's Sheldon. Now you know who Sheldon, not who Sheldon looks like. Sheldon looks like Sheldon. He's got a beard and he twirls it. I've actually heard that often he has to leave his guests and, head off, and someone's got to entertain for the rest of the evening, because he's got to twirl them 266 times every night to get the curvature of the beard. Pretty amazing, hey? Okay, I'm done talking nonsense.